Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today, as the title says, we are going to be doing a 2022 reflection and resetting for 2023 and setting all of our goals and resolutions and all of that fun stuff. I love doing this kind of thing. I think it's really nice just to have a time of year where you sit down and you reflect on everything that's happened in the past and think about where you are now and where you want to be. So it's great because you can do it any time of year. This time of year really just forces you to do that, which I really love. But like I said, you can do it any time of year, whatever you like. Today we're gonna get nice and cozy. I have my book. This is so cool, actually. I'll show you. This little book light that I got for Christmas. Isn't it cute? I have this going over here. I have a candle. It's raining out. It's gonna get kind of dark in this video because the sun is about to set, but I felt like those would be the perfect cozy vibes to sit down, journal, think about what's most important to us, and get ready for the new year. So pull up whatever you need to follow along with me. I will have some journaling prompts in this video, and let's just get started. Okay, so I have my Notion page all pulled up. I love Notion. I've been using it for years. I actually did a video on how I have my Notion all set up a couple of years ago that I'll link down below, but I'm also planning on doing an updated version in a couple of weeks so you can see exactly how I use it now compared to how I used it then. But I just made a page for my 2023 reset, and I made it a little aesthetic, and it's all pretty, and it has everything on there that I need, and I'm going to go through and show you guys how I set this up and talk about the journaling prompts that I mentioned before. So the first thing that I want to do is reflect a little bit on 2022 and how that went. So I have 4 questions that I used to kind of reflect on what I was really happy about in this past year, but also where I felt like I struggled and where I felt like there were areas where I could definitely improve. So the first one was, what comes to mind when I think about the things I loved this year? And that was just like an open journaling prompt to think about what is the first thing that comes to mind? What was I really proud of this year? And what did I really feel like I accomplished and was really happy with? The second question was, what were some of my favorite memories from this year? I do feel like there was a little bit of overlap between those 2 questions, but it was still good for me to just sit there and think about what happened this year, what activities did I participate in, and how did those contribute to the way that I felt about this year. The next question is, what were some things that troubled me this year? I think it's really important to be honest with yourself with these questions, because I think it's really easy to just think about what was great, what did I really enjoy, but I think it's also important to think about, where did I struggle? Why did I struggle? Were they outside influences? Were there things that I could have done to make my life better? Where was that coming from? How can I combat those in the next year? The final question is there anything that I wanted to accomplish in 2022 that I did not get around to? The way I worded this question was specific in that I didn't want it to be like, what didn't you do this past year? Because it's like, well, I did a lot this year, and actually as I was answering the question, I wrote down things where I kind of started specific tasks and goals that I had for the previous year, but I want to further them in the following year, and so I gave myself credit for that as well. So make sure to give credit where credit is due, but also be ready to acknowledge where there were places where maybe you didn't quite get to where you wanted to be. So now that we have reflected on 2022, I hope that you found those questions helpful. The next thing I want to do is kind of reflect on what I want from 2023. So I have a couple of questions for that as well, so we can go ahead and go through those. The first one is, what does my ideal day look like? I wrote it out. I'll show you. Just in bullet points, general things that I would like to get out of my day and do on a daily basis. You can even do more specific, like, how do you want your morning routine to look? How do you want your evening routine to look? how do you want your week of workouts to look? Anything like that. Just how do you want your ideal day? The next question is, what is my ideal environment like? For this one, think about where it is that you feel best. What does the physical environment have to look like? What does the emotional environment have to look like? What kind of things do you have to have done to feel productive? What kind of things do you have to have done to feel like you can unwind? Any of those kinds of things. The next question is, what am I looking forward to most this year? I'm somebody who thrives off of excitement and looking forward to things, and I do think obviously it's important to live in the present also, but it's also really fun to get excited about things that are coming in the future and prepare yourself for those things. Sometimes that's half the fun of the thing itself, it's looking forward to it. So for me, for example, for this question, I talked about how I'm looking forward to graduating and moving out on my own. It's going to be cool to be in charge of my own calendar and to have my own way in the world, I suppose. Also terrifying, but we'll get there. The next question is kind of following that same line. It is, what am I nervous about this year? Again, for me, it's the fact that I'm graduating and then moving out and starting my own life. I think reflecting on that is important though, because that is going to be something that you can think about now and hopefully find ways to kind of combat those nerves. How are you going to approach those things that make you nervous? Are you going to let yourself be nervous and panic over it, or are you going to find ways to make sure that you're ready for them? And then my final question is, what do I really want to accomplish this year? So once you've answered all of these other questions, what is it that you really want to make sure that you get through this year? What are your priorities? This is really going to be helpful for setting your actual goals for the year. So with all of your reflection all done, the next thing is to actually come up with the goals that you want to be achieving for next year. So I've done this just using a gallery view of a database in Notion. I've basically gone through and created a new page for each of my goals. So if I click on one of these goals, we can go to graduate. So if I go into one of these goals, I have tagged it as a personal and academic goal. I have a place to write down my motivation, why this goal is important to me. And I guess I think that that's really important because it's a way for you to motivate yourself, and halfway through the year when you're kind of over this goal, if you look back here and you see why you were so intent on committing to this goal, then you can remind yourself of that. And then what I did is I did a breakdown of the goal. So I thought about all of the different tasks that would need to be done in order for me to really feel like I've achieved this goal. I do this because it feels like a lot of the time goals are lofty. They're not specific enough, and so you need to be able to break it down into manageable tasks. So that's what I did. I wrote down everything that I wanted to do, and then from that I put when I wanted to complete these, whether I wanted them to be in the first quarter, second quarter, third or fourth quarter of the year, and then I associated them with the goal itself. And now I have a date of when I'm planning on getting these things done. And on each one of these pages for each of these goals, I have it so that it will filter based off of that. But I have all of these tasks linked together so that I have a grand old breakdown of everything that I need to do. Okay, because this is like my 2023 reset, I'm also kind of just resetting for the first quarter of the year. I am going to try a quarterly goal system this year. In the past, I've always done monthly, but I've just found that a month goes by really quickly, and I think that quarterly will make it a lot easier for me to break these goals down a little bit more and focus on them a lot. That a few of them are year-round goals that I couldn't really break down anymore. Things like uploading to YouTube regularly, journaling on a regular basis, going to dance classes, reading books. All of those things are kind of general for the whole year. So I didn't really need to break those down anymore. But there are a few things that are specific to this quarter. So first of all is researching gut health, as well as doing research on the body and its hormones as part of my goal, just to kind of understand my body and its cycles a little bit more. I need to figure out what I'm doing in terms of places to live when I move out, because that needs to be sorted sooner rather than later. I am planning on moving up where I did my internship last summer, which is a 3-hour plane ride away, so it's not exactly close. So I have a lot of stuff I need to do with that. Like I said, I'm planning on going to Europe this summer, and so I need to finalize where exactly I'm going to be going and book my flights for that, is my aim to do at least in the first quarter. And then I have a whole bunch of things that I need to do before I graduate. So a lot of that includes things just for clubs that I'm in and my responsibilities in those clubs. For example, I'm choreographing a tap dance for my tap group, which I'm so excited for. We're putting on our own show this semester. My friends and I actually started this club freshman year, and it's grown to be really good. It's like 30 people, and this is the first time we're putting on our own show, and I could not be more excited. And I'm choreographing a dance for it, so I have to get that choreographed in the first quarter of the year. I also have a lot of plans for the formula team that I'm part of, where we build and design a race car every year, and I have a bunch of projects going on with that I need to go through. And then I would like to start a business this year, and some of the things that I want to be selling include like digital products, Notion templates, that kind of thing, since I do have quite a lot of experience with it at this point, and so I want to do that. So I'm going to sit here now and put these into my digital planner, break them down by month, and figure out exactly when that's going to all happen. Okay, so that is everything done for this quarter. Basically, I wrote down my goals, and I was really specific in what I put for January in terms of my priorities, and I actually wrote out tasks for everything and then habits. For the other 2 months, I put habits and I put priorities, just so that I make sure that every month my priorities are being split the way that I want them to. But I'm gonna hold off on doing the tasks until the month comes around, just because I think that I will be more aware of where I'm at, and any tasks I didn't get done in January, I can move down to February. So I still have these overarching goals, but I'm breaking them down into really, really tiny, manageable tasks. Okay, so changing up the scenery a little bit, for the very last bit of this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my absolute favorite things from this year. So I'm going to start with my favorite book. I would definitely consider myself a pretty big reader. I'm not somebody who reads like a million books a month, but I have loved reading for forever. And the best book that I read this year was Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This book I could not put down, and it's been a long time since I felt like that whenever I was reading a book where I literally just like, I read this in one sitting, and it's not a small book either. Like this is like, it's like 450 pages, so it's pretty big. I just think the world building, I think the idea is so unique. I think that the plot was really well executed, and I just had a great time reading it. Like I was just excited, and it made me really happy, and I thought that the ending was great, and I would definitely recommend this book to anybody. It was just phenomenal. Next, I wanted to talk about my favorite TV shows. I am actually currently watching Wednesday, but I wanted to include it because I have really, really loved this show. I think it's so funny and just so well done. And normally, like, these kinds of shows are not the kind of things that I watch, like the supernatural-y kind of thing. Like, I'm just not into that usually. But I just found this show to be so well done, so good, and I can't wait to finish it. But I still wanted to include it in one of my favorites because I just have really, really enjoyed watching this show. Another show I wanted to talk about is Never Have I Ever. I binge watched this a couple of months ago, like towards the beginning of the school year, and oh my gosh, that show just had me completely hooked. It's so good. It's just so funny. Like, I literally just sat there and could not stop laughing. It put me in the best mood. I really enjoyed it. It was relatable in very interesting ways that I didn't realize I would be able to relate to, and it was just really well done. So if you haven't seen that, I would definitely recommend it, but be warned, it will pull you in and you will want to binge it. The next thing that I want to talk about as being a favorite is Apple Fitness. We have the Fitness Plus subscription, and oh my gosh, I use this thing all the time. I think that this app really helps me to motivate myself to do exercise or go to the gym, because there's a lot of varieties in the workouts. Some of them are really, really hard and others are not that hard. And I never know which one it's going to be whenever I click on it, which for me is great because I can talk myself into exercising, being like, it's going to be easy. And then I'm already there and I'm doing the workout, and if it's harder, then I'm putting in that effort too. And it just helps to just like add some variation and make sure that I'm not doing the same thing every time, because if it was just me by myself, I'd go in there, I'd use the treadmill for 30 minutes or I'd use the elliptical, and then I'd use the same routine every single time. So having Apple Fitness really helps me to vary my workouts. And I also love the Pilates and yoga workouts that I do at home all the time. The next thing that I have really, really been loving this year is body mist and perfume, which sounds like a weird thing. It's just, whenever I was younger, I would never really wear it. Like, it just never even occurred to me to put any perfume or anything on unless it was like a really special occasion. But this past year I started wearing it on a daily basis, and I really cannot recommend it more. I don't know if everybody does that or if nobody does that, or if I'm like weird for just discovering how good it makes me feel, but I just feel so much more put together. The most of the year I've been using like the rose smell just from Bath & Body Works. Nothing too fancy or expensive, but when I was on the cruise this summer, I smelled this Chanel perfume that smelled literally just incredible. I fell in love. I didn't buy it, but my parents actually got it for me for Christmas. So I do in fact now have it, and I've been wearing it the last few days, and it's just, I just feel so put together. So this is actually Chanel Gabrielle Essence perfume. A part of me is like, I should wait and I should only wear this on special occasions because like it's fancy and I feel fancy, but on the other hand I'm like, I go to like 3 special occasions a year, so I may as well make every day a bit more of a special occasion and wear it on the daily. And that's what I've been doing. The final thing that I really want to rave about this year is Lego. I am a huge Lego person, so I probably will never stop going on about this. So a lot of people may find it really relaxing to sit and like color a book or something, like the adult coloring books. The equivalent for me is doing Lego. I love sitting there and building these things and seeing it turn into something. It's just so much fun. Also, shout out to my friend Grace who got me this for my birthday, and I was finally able to do it. I also got Lego Diagon Alley from Harry Potter for Christmas, and I've been working on that. It's downstairs, it's in the works, and it just makes me so happy. I just think it's so good to be doing something with my hands, especially if I'm doing something like watching a TV show or something like that, watching a movie. I can't sit still, and so having the Lego to do is just really fun. So that was all of my favorites and all of my resetting for 2023. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you. Please let me know if it did, and make sure to come back to another one of my videos in the future. Bye!